Hey, come see us on tour. We're hitting up Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Buffalo, New York, Reno, Nevada, San Diego, California, Scottsdale, Arizona, Chicago, Illinois, and Urbana, Illinois. Get your tickets right now at cheatcodesmusic.com. See you all there.
I went to Africa like about a month and a half ago for 2 weeks because I'd never been there, and I wanted to see what life was like over there to get a little perspective. And I traveled 3 hours outside of Nairobi to some tribe called the Maasai. They're all over the country of Kenya, but this one was really out there. And you get out of the car and these people have nothing. There's no electricity. It stinks because they measure their wealth in cows. So they just have a bunch of cows running around that shit everywhere, and a bunch of goats that run around and shit everywhere. And they get their milk from the guy, milked a goat.
Oh, nice.
And we ate a goat.
Gotta get your hands dirty, you know?
But even there, even in a place that far out, one of the guys, the younger guy who spoke English, he wanted Kamala to win.
Oh, God.
The chief wanted Trump to win.
So they're just
and I'm like, what?
What is happening right now?
How do you guys even have an opinion on this?
Yeah, that's so funny.
You know, but they live in the same tribe and they think it's funny.
Yeah.
A little bit. They think it's a little funny.
You know?
At least it's like
Something
funny.
to
Yeah.
discuss.
They just look at us like we're the entertainers of the world, I guess. But I think what frustrated me is, you know, America is such a big country. There's 50 states, and obviously our local politicians are going to impact us more. But so it's just weird that everyone's so at each other's necks.
How'd you get set up with going out and visiting a tribe and stuff? Do you have to like know a guy that knows the tribe, or how does that even work?
Yeah, a friend of mine went to college with a guy who he went to Kenya and loved the people, so he started a company called Sky In. I'll plug them, and they do a really in-depth excursion where I stay with an African family, and you cook with them and do different things through the 2 week period. You spend a couple days in Mombasa, which is on the coast, which is a beautiful area, and but all throughout it, you learn so much, and you realize how lucky we are to have been born where we are, and that in the grand scheme of things, we are not that oppressed. We are just not that oppressed.
Yeah,
right? 2 weeks before I went to Kenya, and this is not a happy story. I'm sorry I have to tell it. 2 weeks before I went to Kenya, there was a protest outside of Parliament where a bunch of students didn't want to pay such high taxes, and they gunned them all down. And that was 2 weeks before I got there. And then you compare that to some of the problems that we hear about in the U.S., where people feel like, you know, this is such an oppressive country. And I just really want them to, not that their problems don't matter, just
perspective.
Have perspective. You know, that's why I went there and I came back with some of it.
So this was in Kenya, right?
Yeah, this was in Kenya.
That's insane. Yeah, like we just think, yeah, we can protest. We have freedom of speech. And we forget that almost every other country, even the UK, they don't even have it in the Constitution.
They don't?
No, people get locked up for memes in the UK. Swear.
No way.
Swear.
In the UK?
Yep.
And that is, besides us, the most first world.
Yeah. So, but yeah, like what you're saying though with perspective is just a lot of it's even just the development, you know, like the infrastructure.
Oh man. I mean, sheet metal buildings everywhere, and there's homeless people everywhere. And it's not even that, you know, in LA, I see homeless people and they're out of their mind. It's someone's freaking out while someone's eating Eggs Benedict right next to them. And there, they just don't have enough work. So they're just grown men with nowhere to go and nothing to do.
Right.
There's no options for them, you know, and there's no benefit, you know, that is at least put on by the government, because it's still kind of a corrupt place, you know. It's further along than a lot of countries, but it's still pretty corrupt. And you just see what people live with. And even when you're trying to do what you would normally do when you go on vacation in Mexico, or you go, you know, to Miami or whatever, and you're taking pictures and you want to take some content, and there's a little kid tugging on your pants asking for money, you know, and it happens every other block. So you get pulled right back into reality again.
Right.
Yeah, I think everybody should go visit. Guess what you would call a third world country once. You know,
Yeah.
for real.
And how long did you stay with the family?
2 weeks.
Whoa.
Yeah, 2
Wow.
weeks. Still text them. Yeah,
That's incredible, dude.
yeah.
Wow.
But that's oh man. But we went on safaris. I'll say this: the amazing things, the things that aren't depressing about knowing what you know about Africa's history, is one, the food is fucking amazing everywhere you go. I feel like they don't sell that shit enough. It's everywhere you go. We're passing by Mount Kilimanjaro, and there's just these sheet metal shacks, and you smell what they're cooking, and it just you just know it's bomb. And I'm like,
Wow.
where did you do? Even in the tribe, they cooked us the goat, and they're like, oh, do you guys want to see the kitchen? And we walk in, and it's just a room. There's no stove. There's no
Like
refrigerator.
appliances,
There's just a room. Like, how did you guys even heat this up? And they just build a fire and they cook it in its own blood, and that's the seasoning.
Wow.
It's wild.
Did you
wild.
try anything that you haven't had before? Like any different types of animal or?
Yeah, tried ostrich.
Whoa.
That was pretty
Wow.
good.
How did it?
It's delicious.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's delicious. It
That's
tastes
like an Australia
super
thing. too.
soft steak. It's
Ooh,
amazing.
Wow.
Wow.
Tried ox balls. Wasn't a fan of that. Couldn't swallow it. No
Yeah.
pun intended.
Fair
That'll,
enough. Yeah.
that'll make you horny.
Yeah, that'll get you going. Damn.
Oh man, tried a lot of interesting things. There's a lot of, you could see where the influence comes from of a lot of Middle Eastern culture and stuff. So they have a lot of curries.
Oh, sweet.
You probably realize how spoiled we are too, because when you go to those countries, they eat every part of the animal.
Oh
and,
yeah.
and then you try some of it, and you're like, oh, it's actually pretty good. And where you're like, I'm not going to eat brains, or I'm not going to eat eyeballs or tongue. You know, like that's like a big thing. That
You know, even in the tribe, especially, they separate when they slaughter the goat. They separate all the sections, depending on the ages of the people in the tribe, so that the more protein and nutrient rich stuff goes to the youngest people, so that they grow
Smart.
stronger, and the parts that are more fatty and the older people that just need to survive, those go to the
Wow.
older
Oh
people.
wow.
And the water that they drink, they have to move around. They're nomadic because they have to depend on rain for water.
Oh,
Oh
wow.
wow.
And you go to their watering hole, and it is disgusting.
Really?
It's disgusting, yeah. But they get the water from the top of this little watering area in the middle of nothing, where only donkeys are pooping into it, and they get it in the morning so that it's less
like
polluted,
dirty, yeah.
and they survive off that. Where if you and me drank that water, we would be sick for a week.
Oh right.
And
Wow.
it's,
Yeah, we don't have
there's
the,
so many interesting things.
the gut microbiome.
Yeah, it's not good for the gut microbiome. And it's so funny, especially, again, I'm not trying to insult anybody. It's just whenever I hear things, very first world things like manifest, it is real. It's totally, totally real. I believe that you can really put yourself in the mindset to be successful, and that puts you in a better position. But if you live in a tribe in Africa,
Yeah.
manifesting isn't going to bring you clean water. There's
Right.
just very real world things that we don't ever have to deal with or see, you know, and things that we say and complaints that we have that just, and I still do it. It's not like I came back from Kenya and don't complain about simple and petty stuff. I was pissed off that I missed my first flight today. You know? And most of the people that I met had never been on an airplane.
I was so confused too, because you're my manager and everybody was like, oh, he's boarding his plane right now, and then 10 minutes later he missed his flight. I was like, how did he miss his flight?
Jet Suite, which is the easiest flight to catch.
Forgot.
They can't
It's like
make
no
it
line.
easy.
I'm dealing with
Besides
the-
a private jet that'll wait for you. It's the easiest flight to catch, and I missed it.
If you like that clip and want to see another one, click here. If you want to see the full podcast, click here.